Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who is joining us on this webinar episode, Planning with Evidence, Cutting Edge Practices. My name is Alice Obrecht, and I'm a research fellow here at ALNAP. And want to give a big welcome to everyone who's joining us from very far reaches of the world, including our presenters today who are coming in from all sides of the planet. This is the first edition in a new webinar series that we are launching today at ALNAP called Bridging the Evidence Gap. This series will be exploring new research and tools for improving the quality and use of evidence for humanitarian action. And this webinar series is building on ALNAP's prior work on evidence-driven humanitarian action, including our 2013 paper on evidence and our more recent series of methods notes on evidential quality in humanitarian evaluation. For our first webinar in this series, I don't think we could have had a better lineup of presenters to kick us off. We subtitled this first webinar Cutting Edge Practices because all four organizations represented by our guests today have been leading the charge in improving evidence, research, and data in humanitarian action. And they're with us today to share with you three distinct tools and approaches that they have been developing to bring evidence closer to humanitarian decision makers and planners. So we're really excited and thrilled to have Joe Purdy from 3IE, Roxanne Cristalli from Feinstein International Center, Ellie Ott from Oxfam, and Christoph Kurtz and Cherie Bennett from the IRC. And I'll give more introductions to our presenters as we go. But just some housekeeping before we begin. So today we're going to have a few presentations and a demonstration of one of the tools, followed by discussion and Q&A. So please send your questions to us throughout the presentations via the chat box on your GoToWebinar screen. Second, we, as always, encourage you to tweet about the webinar using the hashtag #EvidenceCrisis. And then finally, you're going to be seeing a couple of polling questions pop up during the webinar. The first one is going up now, which we'd like to get your views on. And this first question is on which of these three tools you have the greatest familiarity. So gap mapping, systematic review, and the outcomes and evidence framework are all the tools that we're going to be highlighting and talking about today. We'd like to understand how familiar you are with each of these. So if you can click on the answer and give us your vote. We'll put up the results later. So while you vote, I will be introducing the topic for today. So we're trying to look at how evidence can be used for humanitarian planning. And generally, there are three steps that humanitarian planners face when they're trying to engage with evidence. In the first place, humanitarian planners need to understand what evidence is out there already and what are the questions or issues where we don't have enough data. So they need to know what evidence is out there that's relevant to their particular area of programming. Evidence gap maps, as developed by 3IE, seek to answer these questions by mapping the existing research around a given area of programming. At that stage, it's really important to understand what's out there, but once we have a lay of the land, so to speak, it's also really important to pull the existing research together in some form of synthesis and find out what is the body of evidence actually telling us about the effectiveness of different interventions or about the best programming designs available. The Humanitarian Evidence Programme, a joint initiative between Oxfam and the Feinstein International Center, has been doing exactly that, producing a set of 8 systematic reviews and evidence syntheses addressing key humanitarian questions. So once we've done that, we've figured out where the gaps are, and then we've pulled together the existing evidence. We need to go through this third step of understanding how to practically apply this knowledge in program design. And to explore this challenge, we're thrilled to have the IRC here today, who will be giving us a demonstration of their new approach to this challenge with their outcomes and evidence framework. So those are the key topics we're going to be looking at today. I'm going to now move to Joe. We've got a great lineup here. And before I do that, just looking at the kind of learning opportunities presented by the webinar today. It's great to see a lot of people will be learning about all three of these tools, and in particular also systematic review seems to be one that people are not terribly familiar with, so that'll be great to hear about.